Hello, everyone, and welcome to Challenge to Champion. Thank you for listening week in, week out to the episodes. I really do appreciate it. I do have one ask for you guys. I don't need you to like the video or subscribe or do any of those regular things. I just need you to share this to someone who you think will find value in the content that I'm creating. Please do this. This is my only ask, and I will keep trying to make the best content possible. And please enjoy the show. Thank you for watching and welcome to another podcast. This is Challenge to Champion with Leroy Meyer, and my guest today is Marco van Deventer.
Hello?
It van Deventer?
Van Deventer.
Van Deventer. We have had...
It was a gamble though, right?
That was a gamble. We have had a quick meeting, a business meeting. That was about 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
And I recognized your face. I recognized your face from a video that I saw, I don't know, a couple of weeks earlier or something.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to have you in a business meeting. And I knew you're a real creative guy from the videos that I saw of you. And I was quite shocked. You were actually doing an interview for a job.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I don't think we can call it a business meeting. It was like an interview for...
Well, for me, it's business.
It's business, yeah. But it's funny how we came about meeting each other.
Yeah, and that was literally 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
And let me just give a little bit of background. Also, 2 weeks back, you told us, oh, yeah, also the band that you're playing in with you and your girlfriend.
Yes.
You also just signed a record deal.
In that week. The timing is it's very strange, but it all happened in a week.
And then the week after that, Afrikaans is groot, those guys contacted you.
Yeah, well, it was in the cards that we would perform, but we wanted to kind of do this whole thing where they contact us, DM
like
us,
a review.
Yeah, but it wasn't like we signed the contract and they said, okay, you're gonna play Afrikaans is groot. It was also news, also in that same week, that they said, listen, you're gonna play Groot Jol, which is kind of like a pre-show for Afrikaans is groot. So crazy week, very crazy week.
Crazy time of your life.
Very crazy time of my life, but also probably the best time I've ever experienced.
I promise you, you're experiencing the most excitement that a guy of your age,
I am definitely
studying what you're studying, no one else is experiencing this. I promise you that.
No, and I actually had this conversation with my parents because they were like, don't forget to soak it all in, because now everything's happening in your. I'm in my head a lot because you get things like imposter syndrome and what's going to happen with my studies and this and that. And they were like, just soak it in. It's a cool time. Just be in the moment. So I'm kind of practicing that now, just to take it all in and see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think it's a major blessing. We're always thinking about all the outside factors. What will people think, and what must I do, and this and that. And it's actually what you should try and do, and is just be present.
Yeah,
experience the emotions and the things that are happening currently, and try and enjoy it a little bit at least.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's kind of a thing like it's happening, and we definitely see it as massive grace. We do, and we're very thankful, and we're not going to fight against it, because now when you're in your head, it's kind of like fighting against it. I'm not going to do that. It's on my path. I just need to embrace it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I love that mindset, and that is how I feel as well. If something comes over your path, for me specifically, if it happens more than once, then I need to do something with this. I'm not sure yet what it will become or what I need to learn from this, but I should just embrace it.
Yeah, and like you talk about if something happens more than once. Also, if something as significant as this happens, because it's not often that we posted one video and it happened. We got scouted. So
let's go a bit into that. You do TikTok videos, Instagram videos.
On the internet.
Yes,
as
on
they
the
say.
interwebs. And
Yeah.
you have a page called Wees 'n Man. The translation of that is be a man.
Yeah, it comes from an American page. It's directly stolen, if you can say. But
I know about that guy. Who's
Yeah, Boston
be
be a man.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's not disclaimer. We don't try to hide it. We know we took it.
But you, of course, you have a different take on things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are trying to do some things that are relevant to our culture, relevant to South Africans.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what makes it shareable. That's what makes it so that people want, come have a look here. This is exactly what you do.
I hope so. It's the relatability aspect.
Yes.
And if you take a look at our videos, the videos that are relatable by far performs the best. You can't even match it with the rest because the relatable things, the engagement is very high on them.
So tell me, let's just delve a bit into this. Was this by accident or was it planned?
Yeah, it was definitely not an accident. I think in the begin stages, because you put yourself out there, right? And so a lot of times when people asked, and this was a year ago when we started the platform, when people asked, we were like, yeah, no, it was an accident. We were just trying to be funny. But it never was. It was, we kind of established it with one goal, and that's to make a profit. If that seems bad, I'm sorry.
No. It makes sense.
I'm not gonna. Also, if you think about it, you're not gonna spend that much time on something just to be funny. So we made it with the sole purpose of generating a profit, and then on a second leg, creating a network for ourselves to kind of create opportunities, because the more people you know and the more people you meet, the more opportunities are going to come your way. And so if I'm thinking of our long-term plan,
I'm so sorry to have to do this, but I did have technical difficulties with the recording, especially with the video recording. So the rest of this interview will only be audio. I'm really sorry for this inconvenience, and I hope you do stay for the rest of the conversation because it really is a good one.
and when we started this, it was number one to make money, and number two, if we should ever kind of progress to be a big page, to meet people via things like the podcast or just walking into somebody and they kind of recognize you. So that was kind of the sole purpose. But to answer your question, no, it wasn't an accident. We had a goal in mind. Yeah.
And if you say the goal was making a profit or making money,
Yeah.
how did you think that would happen?
So the first way I kind of knew we would make profit is by paid promotions. That's kind of the go-to,
Yeah.
the easiest way, because I know that's a thing. And the thing is, I have worked with like influencers previously, and I know the rates and the whatever. And I always thought to myself, you make a video and I pay you like 10K. It doesn't seem right. And so I knew about that. So that was the first leg. And then I always knew there would come with time some way of monetizing the brand in some way. I still to this day don't quite know how.
Or maybe with like clothing
or
just
a lot of
selling things.
Selling anything, because when you build that credibility and you have a audience, it kind of works. And I also saw that because when I was a student, I sold presets. It's like a digital filter, and it's a weird product that not a lot of people know about, but there was some people selling with us with like 200,000 followers, and they made a lot of sales, which the only thing I learned from that is like, if you have the audience, you can sell anything, basically. Yeah. So we thought it's paid promotions and then monetizing it in some way, which we're still exploring, but the possibilities keep on kind of growing. So we'll explore in time how to go about that.
Do you think it becomes better the longer that you hold out?
Yeah, it's funny you ask me that, because I had a conversation this morning with a guy, one of my friends, And he was like, the time is now. Don't wait for anything. The best time to start something is now. And however, I agree with that, because I'm very pro starting. Just start.
Action.
Just take action. And even though I'm very prone of that, given our situation, I believe there is some things we have to kind of wait on, because we have a lot of avenues that we can explore. I just want to pick the best one. So I don't know if waiting at the moment, it feels like it's the right thing to do. But also not a stagnant waiting. We're constantly exploring avenues, not maybe taking action, but getting info, trying to establish if the engagement is there, if the audience would buy in. So you can call it waiting, but not completely, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And I think it's always a difficult thing to know when to pull the trigger, to know when is exactly the right time, or must you let it steam a bit more, or just grow a bit more and maybe get a bigger deal.
Yeah, and it's a tricky thing, because you don't want to be kind of go ahead of yourself and think, we this massive brand, we can pull this off. But you also don't want to kind of underestimate yourself and wait so long, because what if? I mean, if we reach out to someone now for the podcast, the worst that can happen is they can say no, so there's a balance to find. But like I said, we're still kind of navigating that. It is tricky.
How do you feel about the notion of being a sellout?
No, I don't believe that's a possibility. If your intentions and your agenda or your intentions is on the right place. If you have a plan and you have a goal and you know yourself and your brand, I don't believe that's a thing. It's also a thing in the music industry, because that word gets thrown a lot. I think in the music industry, because some people only make music to make money. They cater for one kind of market to make money. But you never know. Maybe the people making that music loves that music. You can't really... I listened to a podcast by Bosch, and he was like, in his younger days, he was always very judgmental over, like, you're a sellout, or you only make soki doof music for money. And now that he's older, he's like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel in your heart, do that. And that's kind of how I feel about it. If we believe in our brand, you can tell me I'm a sellout. I don't really care. You also have to find a balance in between the entrepreneurial thing, because you can do something because it's your passion, but I'm only going to waste my time if I do it in Weserman, because I started this to make a profit, So we have to do something that makes money.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. I hope that...
No, that totally answers it. That totally answers it. What was, if you had a mission with your content, because a lot of your content has humor in. I see you use humor and you use creativity a lot, and that is probably why you're an artist as well. What was your approach with this, and why did you take that approach?
It's broad, because from the beginning, as I've mentioned, we had this plan. I don't think I've mentioned this. I had this plan to build a brand around my partner, Miller Kotza. And because he's like if you ever meet him, and I'm sure you will, I see him as a walking brandable thing. The things he says, the kind of comments he makes, the remarks he makes, his plans, his goals, everything kind of points towards this guy. You can build a brand around him and sell on the basis of relatability. So that's to answer your question.
Like the Jonathan character.
Like the Jonathan character. So the kind of angle was always to sell this guy that's kind of is your friend. The Bupa character is like, we have this thing that we say everybody has a Bupa. It's that guy that you love him. He's the funny guy. He's the guy that is just himself. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. He loves his kind of burkie outfits, his sterling and his bourbon. He loves his brandewijn. And so if we were ever going to sell something or going to expand the brand, it would be in that direction of that type of guy. We even went as far as, when we started the thing, I wanted to build, and I still do, I still want to build a brand so far that one day, far from now, let's say 10 or 20 years, that people talk about a Bupa, like, jy's 'n regte Bupa, meaning a whole...
You created a word.
I created the word, kind of, because it's describes so many things. And so when I want to talk about this guy that's really a burkie, loves brandy, loves rugby, I can just say, yeah, he's a real Bupa. And so that's how strong we want to create the brand. So that's always the angle and always the goal. But it is kind of difficult to navigate because the content I'm making is more relatable for women and the content he's making is more relatable for men. And we have to find a balance,
of course,
between that. Yeah.
Of course, and I think it's very valid what you're saying, because we South Africans are very patriotic and we love what we make ourselves. I mean, if you just look at Leon Schuster and what he has been, every guy our age even and older knows all the lines from all the movies, and we use it as comedy. The same with Robbie Wessels and Puna Koning and all of those.
Yeah.
It's from an era, and people use those references from those movies, and you know exactly where that guy got it.
I just wanted to say, if I go now, you know, if I drink something and I go, nectar, you know exactly from where it comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very, I mean, those guys created something that's
iconic. Yes,
iconic.
they were really, and I think if they only were in this era where it's so easy to create.
Oh,
just think of the hassles they went through to make those movies. Imagine Leon Schuster was today like just recording a load of clips on his phone or on TikTok the whole time.
He would be.
It would be insane.
And I think he'd save himself like 10 years probably.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and they kind of navigated on the hard way.
He wouldn't have been able to run below the radar for so long.
Yeah,
he would have had to start with that ridiculous costumes and things a lot earlier.
Yeah, but also that he would kind of have to. I mean, some of the jokes and stuff they made, it wouldn't float today.
Yeah, no,
but I'm sure he would find a way.
Yeah, no, he's a real creative guy.
Yeah,
I think you're a creative guy as well.
I think so too. But thank you. That's a compliment to me.
Did you work on that, or do you think that's like gene based?
It's definitely in the genes. Definitely in the genes, and also definitely in the way we were brought up. Because my brother, he's like my mentor and my hero and whatever. I love him to bits, and he's actually the real creative guy. So he does music and events and content or whatever. But I think growing up, creativeness was very much encouraged. We made jokes and we made videos and we made a lot of stuff. So I think that's a strong contributor, if I can put it like that. And then also, I think it's in the genes. I get a kick out of when I make a video and people like it. I love it. I definitely get a kick out of that. And that must be in the genes. I don't know. But I think it's in the genes. My mother is also very funny.
Have you been making jokes for your family since you were little, or how did you do this previously when you didn't do it on TikTok or on Instagram?
I didn't really. That's a good question, because my brother is that guy. He made jokes. He was a performer. He still is a performer. But growing up, like, he was the guy that when we have people over that does like characters and accents and whatever. I wasn't. I was much more shy, and I was the guy that would. I was like, I'm gonna go study and get a career, and he's the creative one, and so I didn't really live out that creative side up until probably now, these last 2 years that and also it was kind of I was shy to do it, and that's why I also besides the fact that I saw a brand in Miller, which his nickname is Bupa, it was also kind of nice like alibi to start doing this, but not on my own, you know, because it's hard to put yourself out there. And now I'm
bit
in
of a
this,
shield.
it's a shield, and we're in a partnership, and it makes it easier. So I think at school and when I was younger, I didn't have that shield. I was like, if I'm gonna do something, it's on my own, and I was too
And
shy
that
for
would keep you from doing it.
It did. I think, yeah. It definitely helped me. I had to convince Miller to do it because I really kind of believed from day one. I was like, I think this thing is gonna work. But it helped that he was there, and I wasn't obligated to make content as Marco or as Miller, because we have this brand and we kind of cater for the brand. I'm not promoting my own brand when I make videos for Viesaman. And that makes it easier because nobody needs to like me. They need to like Viesaman. So yeah, that helps a lot, I think.
Are you able to detach yourself from the content that you make?
Yeah, very easily, because of the simple fact that Bupa is the Viesaman. He's more like the Viesaman representative. He's more of the guy, the type of guy, or let me put it like this. The type of people we create content for is similar to Bupa. I'm not really. Like today I have white sneakers on. That's not really in line with our brand. It's something Bupa would mock me about. So I see it, when I make content, it's more like I get into character for the content.
Playing a role.
Yeah. So very easily detached. I'm actually, most of the time I'm detached from that kind of character, because of the fact that I'm not necessarily that guy. And again, it makes it easier to make content because I'm not feeling like, people are gonna judge me for Marco. It's like,
you're just playing a role.
I'm
it's
one
right.
of the guys from Viesaman.
If they didn't like it, they didn't like this role that I played, then that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. It is. My sense of humor is the same. Obviously, the videos that I'm making, the sense of humor is kind of uniform throughout the thing. But I wouldn't normally think about getting a 9mm the whole day. But it suits the character, and that's why it's in one of the videos. If I can explain it like that.
I could relate a lot to that video that you made, and that is, I think that's really how a lot of people think, but no one would think to show others how they think, because it makes them vulnerable and you might sound stupid.
Yeah, but it gets back to that relatable thing. And that video did very well for us.
That's the one that I saw originally, and I'm going to put a link to that so that people know who you are from what we are speaking about, and they can look at all of your content.
Yeah, it's ironic because just like in the way that you recognize me, but you didn't really know how. I get that a lot. It's like a lot of people have seen that video, but they don't remember that's where they saw you. Just you see the face.
But all your content is also like just the camera right here and you speaking into the camera.
Yeah, but it makes it easier. It's nice, and it's kind of get into your head. But that video did very well for us because we were on TikTok for maybe a year and not on Instagram at all. And we posted like 3 videos on Instagram. We didn't get any traction, and we were like, yes, everything they say about the algorithm is true. And I posted that video, and it went semi-viral, and from there our Instagram is performing better now than our TikTok. So that video,
it's probably because of the age group of your of your
Yeah,
type of content
I
consumers.
think so, yes. And it's also funny because we thought, that you'd share an audience throughout Instagram and TikTok. It's the same people, but it really isn't. A lot of them is the same people, but it's a different type of person that follows us on TikTok and on Instagram. I don't know. We get different comments, we get different engagement. Some videos, a lot of the videos when we post it on both platforms, it doesn't compare the engagement, can't even compare. So it's very interesting to see that as well. Unrelated, sorry.
No, that's fine. Do you think the person that watches it on the one platform is choosing that platform for some reason, or is it just by accident? Because people like scrolling certain places. I like scrolling on Instagram. It's a bad habit. You just scroll
Yeah,
and you go through reels one after the other.
yeah,
And I don't really go to TikTok, although I am on TikTok sometimes, but I will rather go there for something else. Maybe looking for inspiration or looking for a fitness video, or
yeah.
I think the way which you use the apps are different. And if I can give you a question about that, what do you think is the difference in the way which you can monetize a platform between Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because the kind of monetizing something on TikTok is not something I'm familiar with at all. I haven't even seen. I don't even know how you buy stuff off TikTok. I know how it works on Instagram because I have bought stuff and I've seen the ads and whatever, but I don't know exactly how we're gonna navigate that. But even if TikTok just serves as another
And the
kind of
angle.
channel, even if it's just even if it refers us to Instagram or a website or whatever, that could help as well. But you never know. If we explore that and we see, TikTok's monetization of monetizing whatever you call it is stronger, then we'll explore that avenue. I don't know. I have no idea.
Now, why I'm asking is because we also in this business and we do a lot of content, and like we think YouTube is a really basic one, and I
Yeah.
mean they pay you for the views.
Yeah, that's
You don't have to do advertisement or anything like that. So
yeah.
we normally use platforms like Instagram to just give a little snippet of the video and then send people to YouTube with that.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it would be on TikTok as well, because I know TikTok does pay for views, but the margins are way out from what I understand. It's not worth it. So I think it would be the same thing, kind of to refer.
It's like a funnel.
It's a funnel, yeah. To eventually get a kind of just channel some or the viewers to YouTube, where we would probably via the podcast. Let's say we drop merch someday. We'd probably also market it on the podcast. Kind of like all roads lead to YouTube, I think.
Yeah, or
From
to the
top of
main
my-
brand, or to the main whatever you're selling.
Yeah. Actually, all of those platforms, it's a good word, that funnel. It's kind of, it funnels it to wherever the main goal. But it depends on what we want to be selling or doing or whatever. So we'll see, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say it's an interesting time for you guys, and I think it's really exciting. You should enjoy it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the singing career that you've recently started together with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
The band's name is Ons.
Ons. Yeah.
In English, that's us.
Yeah.
It's you and her.
It's me and my girlfriend, which she wasn't my girlfriend at the time that we started the band.
When was that? Like 2 months ago?
It was maybe four and a half months ago. Five maybe. It doesn't even matter. It's been a short period of time.
Do you realize the risk what you're busy with currently?
I do. And we've been through this. We've been through this with the label. As you can imagine, it was heavy conversations and contractual stuff. But all in all, we all know where we stand with each other, and we had to navigate that. That was one of the
That's like a prenuptial agreement, basically,
Yeah,
that you're pulling
and
up.
it was very tough. And like I told somebody the other day, we have all these things in place. Everything is on contract and whatever, and we understand each other. But you don't want to sound naive, or you don't want to sound like that guy. But we don't believe, and again, you never know. But we don't believe it'll be necessary to use one of our safety nets, because we feel a certain way, and we believe that the whole journey has been too significant in the way that we met, fell in love, or started the band, fell in love. Everything was just kind of working out.
It sounds like a movie.
It sounds like a movie, and also
might become a movie with
I told her it's
going
to become a book. I told her that but I always like to manifest stuff like that. But the whole thing was too significant for us to go, okay, listen, we're in a band, let's not be in a relationship now, or let's not take this opportunity with our record label, because it might
be difficult later in the relationship.
Yeah, you can't kind of argument like that, because we're not in a space where we know what's going to happen, but we have these opportunities. So we rather went and said, let's understand each other, us and the label understand each other on a good level, and set stuff in place so that it can't be a problem. If I can put it like that, it will never be a problem, because we are not allowed with the record label for it to be a problem, because we have a contract with them. So
have you heard of the story of Fleetwood Mac?
No.
You know the band Fleetwood Mac?
I've heard, yes, the other day I know the band. I've heard something on a series or something. But
so Fleetwood Mac also consists of I think it's a woman vocalist, two guitarists, of course, bassist, guitarist, drummer.
Yeah.
And the guitarist and the vocalist had a relationship.
Yeah.
For a while, they were married.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they were married. And then they released like a couple of hits and big hits.
Okay.
You'll know their music for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they broke up, but due to the contract, they still had to perform, and they had to keep performing.
Yeah.
And then they started writing songs about one another, but to diss each other. And
but still in the same band.
Yes. If you know this, it would make sense, the lyrics that they use. But if you don't know about it, you just think, it's normal relationship stuff that they're singing about. But they're actually singing about one another.
Yes. I wonder how long that lasted.
It lasted long. It lasted a long time. I watched an interview on Top Gear with the drummer.
Yes, I can hear it.
And he said it was the tension in that group.
Yeah, and he's just watching everything play out.
Yes.
Like he's like singing to each other. Oh my word.
Yeah, and think about tour buses and spending all that time together, pre-show, after show.
Not easy.
I think it was a terrible thing. But he says at least they were drunk a lot of the time and using a lot of things. So maybe it didn't bother them as much.
Yes, but it's interesting you bring that up, because with me and Ruve, that's for the viewers, that's my girlfriend and band partner.
You're going to see her jumping up now.
Yeah, so it happened like this. It's very cute, but it's also kind of like that. We started playing in a band. Oh no, we just started making music, kind of exploring if we could maybe play some quiet places. Our aim was Hazelwood, because it's kind of more premium places, just background music. We started liking each other, and then what happened is she would come and say, listen, I wrote this song. Please tell me what you think about it. And then I'd know the song is about me, and vice versa. So I would go and play the song about this girl, and I would play it to her, and then eventually one night we wrote a song together, and we kind of just confessed our feelings through the song. and after the song was written, we were like, okay, I know that's about me. And we confessed our feelings on that night. The song is it still exists. It's one of our songs. And from there, we were like, okay, we're going to be in a relationship now. So a lot of our songs it's like that. It's her perspective versus my perspective meets each other in the second chorus. And that's kind of our inspiration. So it makes it easier to write songs. As I'm sure it was for Fleetwood Mac at that time, because you have a lot of inspiration. You know?
Yeah. Romance is a big inspiration, but also anger and hate and those things.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, heartbreak.
Heartbreak
of course
is a massive.
So it would be beneficial either way.
Yeah, either way. I mean,
Either you have like a Taylor Swift CD, a breakup CD, or you have just a romance CD.
And that's the thing also now. If we write a breakup song, but it's not about us, do you think people would be like, oh, there's trouble in
That
the
would-
Ons camp? You
That
know?
would actually be proper media.
That would be media, I would think, because
That
Now,
would be
I
quite a
was singing a
leverage to
song
take.
about like young love or something, or falling in love, but everybody's like, you guys are all in love already.
Every second week you're in the huisgenoot because someone's saying that they
Yeah,
just
it's
broke
about-
up.
Oh no!
But that would be good publicity.
Yeah.
But you touched on this earlier, and this is actually one of my questions: is what do you think about manifestation?
I'm a very big believer in manifestation, but not in a kind of woke way, if I can put it like that. I believe in it as a fundamental of my faith, my religion. It's not really manifestation. It's more like believing in a promise and believing in kind of speaking positively towards that because you believe in a promise. So if I read the Bible and I let's take for example Jeremiah 29:11, which everybody knows. It says, the Lord says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper, not to harm. So on the basis of that, I can go ahead and dream very big, because God said, I have plans to prosper you. So on the basis of that, I'm like, if I dream big, the plans that back me are prosperous. And so if I go and I say, I want to play Lentedag one day, there are so many promises in the Word that go kind of in the direction of God wants to be good to you, and God wants to bless you, that it's not a manifestation like thinking my words are gonna make the dream come true. It's kind of acknowledging to God that we believe in your promise, if that makes sense. It's like reminding God that you said this, so we may believe it, and that settles it. My mom always says, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. So it's manifestation on the basis of a promise that's already in existence. But yes, I don't actually know the correct meaning of manifestation, but if that kind of describes manifestation, then yes, I'm a big believer in manifestation.
Let me ask you, did you manifest or envision any of the things that are currently happening to you, and maybe in a different way or maybe close to the same
Yes.
way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always said, because and we spoke about this earlier, previously before the band, I wrote music for artists, but they never, no artist has ever used my music. I just wrote, so I would sit and write a song for Rian Bernardi, and it's not like he sings it or took my song, but I would always go and say to the people around me, you're gonna hear my music on the radio one day. That was a kind of line that I always say to people, and I say it to this day. I'm like, you're gonna hear my music on the radio. I didn't know in which form it would be.
No, it's gonna be you.
It's gonna be me, but it's still the music. So yes, and also to a weird extent, always felt like I would be in the public eye one day. For what reason ever, I don't know. I was kind of confident about that. I would also tell people like, you'll see me one day, or very subtle, because I don't know in which form it would be. It would be like, you'll see me one day, or you'll hear from me. So I think, yes, the things that are happening now, and I'm speaking now as if it's already happened. It's still in process,
But it's busy.
but we spoke it into action, as far as we could, and that's actually a good lesson to learn. That now that I think of it, because it's kind of, we spoke about this for years, and it's happening.
Spoke it into action.
Yeah, slowly but surely it's happening. So, and again, not in exactly the way that I thought, but in some way, so yeah, it definitely works in my opinion. Believing in a promise, and speaking,
Having a
action,
vision, having a goal in mind, and doing everything towards that goal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
believing there is a goal and it's achievable.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to ask you another thing about your religion. Does it influence your content in any way? Maybe does it prohibit you from doing certain things, or saying certain things, making certain content, or
Yeah.
also do you distinguish between the two?
No, it definitely influences the content that we make, but it's also kind of a sensitive topic, because a lot of the things that we want to make, content wise, or the direction that we kind of go towards, can how do I say this? It can border on things that kind of is
A lot of church people won't agree with.
yeah, and even it's like let's take a little example. Our audience is very like big Keier Brandewyn.
Secular crowd.
Yeah, we like to party and everything, and I do too. I'm not sitting here like I'm perfect. There's a lot of things I can work on. I know that, but it's a hard thing, because we still believe you can't go and conveniently let out certain things of your religion. We can't go and say, we're not gonna curse on the platform, because we don't really. But it's fine. We can promote everything else. We can go say get drunk so you have to distinguish. But we try to let it still let it lead us in our content, because our content is not. It's not. I'm struggling to find my words.
I think being authentic doesn't always 100% mean doing the things according to the book. I mean, if people know you and they see your intention, I think you can easily lead someone astray by swearing and drinking and doing a lot of those things. But I think when we're honest, you can do good in the world, and you can be a good person, and you can have a real good influence, even though you swear sometimes, or even though you drink sometimes.
Yeah, and I think on to add on that, you may have a much stronger influence when somebody sees you're real and you are genuine,
and they can relate.
Yeah, and they can relate, as opposed to a lot of influencers these days immediately lose a whole bunch, a whole segment of the market, because of the fact like, why do you think you're perfect, and you're kind of judgmental and whatever. So being real for us, it establishes a better foundation of which you can influence when you are authentic. But to answer your question, it definitely, religion has an impact on our content, because it is our foundation. It has an impact on everything we do. We definitely don't what is the word? We don't.
What do you want to say?
Separate.
Separate.
We don't separate content and religion, because There's no place on earth that we can do that. For me and Miller, I'm not saying this as a rule for anyone, that this is the way we want to do it. But it is hard sometimes, because sometimes we want to swear because the impact would be so much bigger.
Yes.
But then also there's
A lot of religious people, like we spoke about earlier, Jordan Peterson, Tony Robbins, a lot of those guys, they use swear words in specific spots to exclamate them.
yeah,
And they know this is how you get someone to listen on this certain spot.
yeah,
And I'm not being religious or not religious in any word of sense of the word. I'm just also trying to be authentic.
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
because I do swear.
Yeah, me and Bupa, we also swear,
And it's something that I want to do less, but
exactly.
I do.
That's the point. And there's also the other part of this is like, are we being kind of, what is the word that I'm searching for? Hypocrites for not swearing on the platform while swearing off the platform.
Yeah.
You can always explore that argument. It's also tough, but the thing that we have to realize is we have a lot of influence as a result of the platform, and I'll be damned if we use that influence for the wrong reasons. So we have a responsibility, and it's not to go on the platform and try and influence people in a certain direction, but it's also not. There's a lot of kids that are still at school that love VSM1 content, and I'll be damned if we influence them in any wrong direction, if that makes sense. So that's also kind of a reason that we don't swear on the platform, is because it still needs to be we have to have a good impact for the most part. But it's a tricky thing, because I think you know what I mean when I say a lot of things that our audience stand for can be, you can use it for the wrong reasons, you can do it wrong, but also that's not
And you might do it wrong. You might do it wrong, and hopefully you can do it over then.
yeah, exactly. But
it's gonna happen sooner or later.
Yeah, but also it's not my I'm not making anybody drink more. When Buffelsfontein pay me to promote their brandy, it's not my story how much Buffelsfontein you're gonna drink. It's a paid job. We're promoting Buffelsfontein, and it's still used. And we love brandy. We're not taking that away, but also it's not like we're promoting getting drunk. That's on you. You know what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
So, but it's difficult. It's an inner kind of
struggle
that I have a lot.
Can you tell me this story? You've told me before, but I want to get it on this recording. The story about how you approached Buffelsfontein for the first advert that you made them. Well, you didn't approach them.
Yeah, we didn't approach them. Well, when we started VSM1, we had a couple of brands that were the goal, and one of them was Buffelsfontein, because we love our Afrikaans and how authentic and whatever they are. And so I said to Bupa, let's make a video to get their attention. And the video must be very much in the line of what they do, how they make ads and whatever. And so we did exactly that. We made a video with the same kind of language, the same tone of voice, the same everything. Wrote a whole script. And then we sat on that video for long, because then we had this thing about we can't fake an ad because we're scared they will come and say, listen, you can't make an ad on our behalf if we didn't pay for it. So then we were like, whoa, let's sit on this. But then we had a guy, a VSM1 kind of fan, that it's a long story, but they stock their wine at the Buffelsfontein restaurant.
Yeah.
And he went to the manager and he's like, look at these guys. Because we have made Buffelsfontein orientated videos where we drink Buffelsfontein or whatever, but it was never promoting them. And so he showed the manager, and she was like, no, I'm sending this to Meyer. Your names are very confusing.
Meyer Leroux and Leroux Meyer.
Yeah. And then that manager said, post the video, then based on the views, maybe we can contact you. So we posted the video, and they loved it, and everybody tagged them, and they said, okay, we need more content. Do you want to work with us? And so the plan worked. For
And
the most part.
they negotiated and paying you only in brandy.
They paid us in brandy, and we were very, very happy with that. It's like
Fair trade-off.
yeah, because and then we were kind of like, you can, it's fine, keep the brandy, give us tickets to the
Festival. Yeah.
And so it was a whole. And so we made a day of it. We're like, okay, we're going to the festival. But that was also a cool chance that we took that actually came off.
That's being really creative. I know of one of the biggest agencies that currently do Nike's videos.
Yeah.
They did the same thing. They made an advert for Nike and posted it as if they were Nike. And then Nike contacted them and told them, listen, this is really good.
Yes.
We want you to start creating content for us.
Yeah. Well, it worked, but
Yeah.
also there was a kind of risk, I think, because you can't do it on behalf of someone if that ad, has anything in it that they wouldn't approve of or something like that.
Yeah, it is a risky move, but the risk paid off.
It did, and yeah, we made content at the festival, which we're gonna post. So we are looking to extend our partnership with them. Well, it's not a partnership; it's just a collaboration. But we want to make content for them to the point that one day they say, "Okay, you are the exclusive Buffelsfontein promoters," or something like that. A partnership in some form would be the goal. But yeah.
What excites you the most for, let's say, this year is close to finished, but I think you have a lot of things happening still this year.
Yeah.
What's the most exciting thing to you currently?
So currently, my head is in a lot of places, but the music thing, it's taking off very slowly but surely. But for this year, it's not gonna be something very significant because we're only releasing mid-November or maybe begin November. But I'm very excited about our podcast at the moment because we spoke about a podcast maybe for 6 months now, and I only recently started to test the water with possible guests and sponsorships and whatever, and we got really good feedback only in the last 2 or 3 days. So that's quite exciting because of the networking part of podcasting. It's for me the important part is just to meet people.
It's a way in.
Yeah, and not even like that. Even if I could just meet someone and be friends with them. For example, I'm very thankful to be here to meet you and Annie, because I've followed you for a long time and I've had a lot of respect for you because of the work you do. So it's cool now I'm sitting and talking to you because of a podcast. So I'm excited about that, and we have some nice guests lined up possibly.
I'm excited to hear that as well. Yeah, and I think me and Annie speak a lot about this. Having a podcast, like in school, if you weren't the popular kid or one of the popular kids, you weren't necessarily invited to a party.
Yeah.
Except for if you host the party.
Oh, yeah.
So this is basically hosting the party.
Exactly.
So you can get the cool kids because you're the host.
Yeah.
The other explanation they give is they say if you can't get a seat at the table, serve water to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a waiter. Do anything. Get yourself at the table.
But I love that kind of philosophy because, I mean, for me as well, I kind of contact you guys for an admin position, which I probably never would have done.
I'm very glad we didn't appoint you.
Yeah, but I think subconsciously I was like, I could get to meet these guys at least.
Yeah, well,
let's just take a chance because even on the way there I was like, I don't even know if I have the time to do this job, if this is gonna work. I have no idea, but at least we're gonna meet each other,
But I think what you didn't, maybe you didn't realize, but with your platform contacting us, we would have said, yeah, for sure, let's do something.
Yeah, it's we still now with the feedback for the podcast, it's a thing of my partner constantly needs to remind me that it's a the platform is farther than I think. It's and I still have a problem kind of asking for money sometimes, and then he needs to remind me, listen, companies have money, they'll pay us because we have a good following. You don't need to feel bad or anything.
Yeah,
And
it's a trade.
it's a trade, but yeah, that's probably from my own reference, but that's another story. But yeah, got sidetracked now. I don't know what I wanted to say.
No, but I think that's a perfect note to end on. This was a really good conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
It went very fast.
Yeah, I think it's probably over an hour. But I really enjoyed it. It went by fast. And I'm really excited for your podcast and your music and your content. I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
If you could leave a lasting word for maybe someone who wanted to get started in this, or someone who are inspired by what you do, what would you tell them?
Yeah, definitely just to start something. Obviously, with it being kind of calculated, but with anything, I think you guys could attest to that. Just begin. Not necessarily jump on a platform, make a video, but just start to explore that. And if there's any possibility that you can begin without a lot of risk, just do it. Because if you're gonna wait for everything to be perfect, you're really gonna wait a long, long time. And yeah, that's a lesson that I've learned through the last 5 or 6 years, and it always works. Just to start, because you learn. You know, there's a guy, Gil Overd, he said in his book, bite off more than you could chew, but then chew like hell. And that kind of, if you just start, you'll learn. You'll make the mistakes, and you'll trial and error, but you'll never know if you don't start.
There you go. I think that's some good advice. Thank you guys for listening, and see you on the next one.